I'm Darren Rayon, National Training Manager at QStrength. Let's compare Securement with the QStrength 1 to a traditional securement system. For the QStrength 1, securement begins by pressing the wall button to release all 4 securements and the outside portion of the occupant securement, which are already perfectly positioned in the platform. Only 16 seconds into the securement process and the wheelchair is secured, and I'm ready to move on to the occupant securement, pulling the aisle side portion of the lap belt from the platform and routing it through an opening between the chair and the armrest to achieve a good fit. I then grab the remainder of the occupant securement from its preloaded position, allowing me to stay out of the passenger's personal space while connecting it to the aisle side portion of the belt. Finally, I lock the system by pressing the wall button, with securement clocking in at under 40 seconds. Now let's compare that process to securement with our most popular traditional 4-point securement system. First, I need to locate the securements in the storage pouch and then successfully anchor each one to the vehicle floor before manually releasing the webbing to attach each securement hook to the wheelchair frame. This process for one traditional securement took nearly the same amount of time as securing the entire mobility device with the QStrength 1. Not to mention that one of the most common causes of securement-related incidents is operators not properly anchoring the securements to the vehicle floor, the likelihood of which only increases as vehicles age and as tracking becomes more corroded and filled with dirt and debris. Not having to do this step with the QStrength 1 not only makes securement faster, but also significantly safer. With the wheelchair now secured, I can move on to the occupant securement. Again, the first step is finding the components of the system. I begin by locating the aisle side portion of the lap belt and attaching that to a connector on the rear retractor, rather than having it already anchored and available like it is with the QStrength 1. I then route the belt through an opening between the chair and the armrest, leaving this belt draped over the armrest or with the passenger while I move back to the rear of the chair to locate the wall side of the system. Once I find that part of the system, I have to ensure that I pull enough webbing out of the retractor that I'm able to stretch and drape the belt over the head of the passenger as I make my way back to the front of the securement location. At this point, I finish routing the wall side portion of the belt while struggling to remain out of the passenger's personal space as I connect the wall side portion of the occupant securement to the aisle side lap belt. You can see just how invasive this process is for the passenger, and in many ways this demonstration represents the best traditional securement situation, as I'm the training manager for the securement manufacturer and the passenger has excellent physical dexterity is being very accommodating during the securement process. Once the securements are connected, I must manually tighten them since it's not self-tensioning like the QStrength 1, which necessitates holding the receiving buckle with one hand while reaching back to tension the system with the other. The whole process took nearly 4 times longer than the QStrength 1.